Are you brave enough to hear the terrifying tale of the mad gasser of Mattoon? This infamous phantom anesthetist haunted the small town in the mid-1940s, leaving a trail of gas attacks and terror in its wake. The gasser was said to be a tall, thin figure dressed in dark clothing, carrying a flit gun filled with noxious fumes. Some reports even claimed that the gasser was a female dressed as a man. The townsfolk lived in constant fear, never knowing when the gasser would strike next. Victims reported strange smells, paralysis of the legs, coughing, nausea, and vomiting. No one knew who or what the gasser was or why it was terrorizing the town. Aren't you ready to experience the horror of the mad gasser of Mattoon? Watch our video for a spine-chilling retelling of this infamous legend. But be warned, once you hear the story, you may never feel safe in the dark again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more scary stories like this. In the mid-1940s, the small town of Mattoon, Illinois, was struck by a horror that defied explanation. A nameless terror that crept through the streets at night, shrouded in darkness and the stench of noxious fumes. The mad gasser of Mattoon, they called it, a phantom anesthetist who slipped through the shadows like a wraith, leaving only sickness and death in its wake. For 2 weeks, the town was besieged by more than 24 gas attacks, each one more terrifying than the last. The victims reported strange odors that filled their homes, followed by a creeping paralysis that stole over their limbs. They coughed and retched, their bodies racked with nausea and pain, while the mad gasser laughed and slipped away into the night. The police were powerless to stop it, and the townsfolk huddled together in fear, never knowing when the next attack would come. No one knew where the gas came from or who the mad gasser was, but they all knew that they were not safe. Despite the mounting evidence, the police refused to believe that the mad gasser was real. They dismissed the reports as mass hysteria and blamed everything from nail polish to industrial pollution for the strange odors that filled the air. But the people of Mattoon knew better. They knew that the mad gasser was out there, waiting for them, and that one day it would come for them too. The mad gasser of Mattoon was a horror that plagued the town in the mid-1940s. The first reported case was that of Mr. and Mrs. Bert Kearney of 1408 Marshall Avenue, whose testimony formed the basis of most contemporary descriptions of the gasser. They described the gasser as a tall, thin figure, dressed in dark clothing and wearing a tight-fitting cap. The gasser was said to carry a flit gun, an agricultural tool used for spraying pesticide, which he used to expel his noxious gas. Later reports would describe the gasser as a female dressed as a man, adding to the horror and confusion of the town. The mad gasser seemed to take pleasure in spreading fear and sickness, slipping through the shadows like a phantom and leaving only chaos in its wake. No one knew who the gasser was or where it came from, but everyone knew to fear the sound of its footsteps in the night. The gasser struck with a series of horrifying gas attacks, each one more terrifying than the last. One night, Mrs. Aline Kearney was sitting in her home when she noticed a strange, sweet smell filling the air. Suddenly, she began to feel weak and dizzy, as if she was suffocating. She stumbled to the window and saw a shadowy figure lurking in the darkness, holding a strange contraption that emitted a noxious gas. The mad gasser had come for her, and there was nowhere to hide. In another incident, a young girl was lying in bed when she heard the sound of footsteps outside her window. Suddenly, she was enveloped in a cloud of gas, choking and coughing, as the noxious fumes filled her lungs. She tried to scream, but no sound would come out. The mad gasser had come to claim another victim. The townsfolk lived in fear, never knowing when the gasser would strike next. Some reported seeing a tall, thin figure dressed in dark clothing, while others claimed the gasser was a female disguised as a man. But they all agreed on one thing: the mad gasser was real, and it was coming for them. No one knew who the gasser was or why it was terrorizing the town. Some speculated that it was a deranged madman, while others believed it was something far more sinister. But one thing was certain: the mad gasser would stop at nothing to spread fear and death throughout Mattoon. As you turn off the lights and settle into bed, the eerie tale of the mad gasser of Mattoon still lingers in your mind. You can't shake the feeling that someone or something is watching you, waiting in the shadows. Remember, if you ever catch a whiff of a strange odor in the dead of night, don't assume it's just your imagination. Stay alert and don't let your guard down. You never know what terrors might be lurking just beyond your door. Thanks for watching this bone-chilling episode of Scary Stories. If you want more terrifying tales, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. And if you dare, let us know in the comments below which urban legend you want us to tackle next.